knock this thing out, man.
Hey everybody, please have your phones on mute or off. Thanks for being here, Colorado Media Day. Just to go over the schedule of events real quick. Obviously, we've had head coach Boyle here. Alpine ski coach Ian Lockhead is scheduled to be here after Coach Boyle, followed by Coach J.R. Payne. Then we'll have our media lunch with women's players after. So my pleasure as always to introduce in his 14th season, Colorado head coach Tad Boyle. Tad, if you could please start with an opening statement, and then we'll open up for questions.
Okay. Thanks, Troy. Thanks for being here, everybody. I can't believe it's year 14, but here we are. I'm as excited as ever about being the head coach at the University of Colorado. And I'm as excited as ever about the team we have coming back. And I think we've got a great combination of veterans who have kind of been there, done that, and have been through the wars, so to speak. And we've got some really good newcomers, some good young talent in the program. So I think that how we blend, the old with the new, certainly over the first, month or two of the season is going to be critical in our success this year. But I like the track we're on. They're a coachable group. They work hard. They're competitive. And once we get all hands on deck, which we're not quite there yet, I like where this team, I like its ceiling. It's pretty darn high. So the league is going to be good. As it always is. I think this year there's a lot of good teams in the Pac-12, a lot of good talent, a lot of good big guys. So it's going to be a fun year.
Tony Casolo, Buffalo's Wire. You dealt with some injuries towards the end of last season. So what is it like to have guys like Javon and KJ back at the start of the season?
Look, injuries are just part of college athletics. I don't care what sport you're coaching, you're covering. I mean, it's just part of it. So staying healthy for this team, I think we do have some depth, but again, once we get our depth into our bench a little bit, we're pretty young, and so you don't want to rely on the young guys too much, and in order for us not to rely on them too much, we're certainly going to need them, but our veterans, it's imperative we stay healthy, and I cross my fingers every day when we come to practice and we walk off the floor and nobody got hurt that day. It was a good day. Even though maybe it wasn't a good practice, it was a good day. So staying healthy is going to be key.
Coach, do you feel that you guys addressed all of the holes in the team last year when it comes to just like a big man, maybe a shooter?
Yeah, I do. I think, look, as I look at last year's team, we turned the ball over too much. I think that's on the veterans that are coming back to take care of the ball better, and we talk about that with the freshmen as well and the newcomers. But and then we weren't a great shooting team last year. That's every player on our team has an off-season improvement plan, and every single one of them shooting was on that list. So I think we've got some guys that can shoot the ball better than they shot it last year in games. I always say there's practice shooters and there's game shooters. We've got some practice shooters. We got it now. It's got to translate to the game, and part of that is a function of shot selection and who's taken the right shots. But I think we've addressed both those things in terms of our off-season improvement, and now we just have to commit to taking care of the ball and making sure we're getting great shots. And I think we got some guys that can make shots.
Hi, Coach. We talked with Eddie Lampkin, and he said the big reason he came here is just wanted to play for you. He saw facets of Evan Batty's game and his game. Mm-hmm. What do you see in him, and what kind of asset is he going to be to this team?
Well, Eddie brings obviously great size, great physicality. He's got an edge and a competitive streak about him. He's very vocal. He's similar to Evan in his body type, big and burly and strong. He's a few inches taller. Probably doesn't shoot it as well right now as Evan did, certainly as a senior, but he can really pass the ball. He's a willing passer, great talker, great teammate, and he's a guy that we need to get healthy. And he's maybe a couple weeks away. It's right around the corner, but Eddie brings a lot to this team, physically and also emotionally, and I think that's what Evan was, right? Evan was an emotional leader, and that's what Eddie can be as well for us. And I know his teammates can't wait to see him, on the court, and he's going to help our practices for sure.
Hey, Coach McMiller, Fox 31. I'm interested, what has been your impressions of Cody early on, and what expectations do you have as his career progresses his freshman year? Because obviously there's going to be intrigue just based on his NBA potential, but to help the Buffs win and also develop, what do you want to see from him?
Yeah, Cody's great in terms of his approach to being a freshman in this program. He's come in with great humility for a guy who's had all the accolades he's had. He's a great teammate. He's unselfish. He wants to learn. And, for us to get the most out of Cody this year, that learning curve has got to he's got to conquer it pretty quickly. The good thing is he's very intelligent. He's smart. He's got a great IQ. He listens, he learns, and he asks questions. And, you see what I want to see, and my expectation for Cody is just daily improvement. That's really what it comes down to, getting better every single day. It might be physically, it might be mentally, it might be, learning what works and what doesn't work. I think he's learned a lot. I see where he was in June when I coached him with USA Basketball and where he is today. He's a much better player. He understands the game more, because it's a big jump going from high school basketball in Arizona to FIBA basketball at the world level, and then college basketball at the highest level. So Cody's going to be a good player. There's no doubt about it. It's just I want the fans to understand that he's young and he's going to make mistakes, but he's going to fight through them. He's going to get better. He's going to be a heck of a lot better come January and February than he is today. But that daily improvement is something that Cody and I talk about all the time.
Hey, Coach, given the randomness of the NCAA tournament, can you set expectations before a season about how far a team should go?
No, I mean, other than, you want to advance, and you want to advance, obviously, for this program to take the next step, we have to advance past the first weekend. And so is that an expectation? Absolutely it is. Each team is a little bit different. Yes, when you get to, that time of the season in March, and it seems like a long, long ways away, although it'll get here quickly, what you don't know is your matchup. And that's why, for college basketball, like the games we play in November, sometimes people look at our non-conference schedule and they think, oh, they need to be playing more power. Like the teams we're playing are going to be good teams, and how we perform in November affects the seed you get come March and how we play in December. So, really every game matters in terms of preparing your team for that seed. Some teams are playing for NCAA tournament berths, and some teams are playing for seeds. And we'd like to be a team that's playing for a seed. Right now, we're a team that's playing for a berth, as most teams are, because it's not given. But I think as a season goes, each game becomes a little bit more important. And I think one of the things our veterans, learned from last year, when you look at last year's team, is some of those early opportunities. And Grambling comes to mind, and UMass in the tournament comes to mind, at Cal comes to mind. We had some opportunities that we let slip away, and now we're fighting and scratching and clawing for an NCAA tournament berth that didn't come. We can't let that happen this year. And to be thinking about how far we're going to go, look, let's just get there first and see where we're at. But certainly my expectations is I want to see this program, get to the second or even the third weekend of March, and then we can have a lot of fun.
Hey, Coach, with your freshman class, just what stands out to you most about them?
Talent. I mean, when I see Cody, I see Courtney Anderson, who just today was his first practice back for, 10 practices or so, how many ever he missed. I see Asan Jop. I see Bangat Dak, who's two young bigs that are really, really talented. And Courtney's going to be a great player here at Colorado before it's all said and done. So I see those four guys. Now, again, we don't know how long we're going to have Cody. That's a year-to-year thing. But those other three guys, great core to build around. And I think, once November signing comes, I can't talk about the guys we're going to sign in November yet until that day comes, but, we're going to stack another good class on top of this one, and that's going to give us a good base moving forward, for this program. Because, again, I said this 14 years ago when I got the job. We want to build this program the right way and for sustained success. And to me, I know it's a different world out there today, with all the things going on, but I still believe in recruiting really good high school players, developing them, watching them grow, and trying to stay out of the transfer portal as much as we can. Obviously, we had to go get Eddie because of what Lawson did at the end of the last year. So if you got to do it, you got to do it. But I'd like to stay with high school kids if we can.
Tad, you're well aware of this, but if you're going to compete at the top of the Pac-12 and make a run in March, it's going to be predicated on defense. So,
Yep.
Is this team capable, and are they willing? That have you seen so far?
Absolutely. I would say yes and yes. We're very capable, and they are willing. I mean, I think our leadership, Tristan Da Silva and Luke O'Brien, are 2 seniors, and then also, Javon Hadley was a junior, and KJ Simpson and Julian Hammond. Those 5 guys, I think they understand. And then I look at our young guys, their competitiveness. Again, when Eddie gets back in the fold, his competitiveness, because that's really what defense starts with. It starts with it's a grit and a will to defend. I say this about Cody all the time when people ask about his game. He's not just a capable defender, he's a willing defender. And I think we've got a lot of guys like that. We'll switch a lot of ball screens this year. We'll double the post. We'll trap some ball screens. We want to dictate the tempo of the game and the energy of the game with our defense. Right now, we got guys that are reaching a little bit too much and fouling a little bit too much. But I like our willingness and certainly our capability. The one thing, if you see this team out there, we're long. We got great length with this team, and length only helps you if you use it. We get in a stance and you get wide, and we got a lot of guys playing defense with their hands at their sides right now, so we're still creating some habits there. But I like the defensive potential of this team for sure, Mark.
Ted, you've had teams that have reached expectations. You've had some teams that maybe have fallen short with the high ceiling for this team. What's your thought about expectations? How do you approach them? How do you manage them?
Yeah, again, my expectation is we get better. We're better in December than we were in November. We're better in January than we were in December and as it goes. So, because I think if you're playing your best basketball in March, you got a chance to play in the postseason. And again, if we take care of the opportunities in November and December on our schedule that we should take care of, we'll put ourselves in a position to be a NCAA tournament team. And so that's our expectations. They're not going to change. The standards that we have for ourselves internally are not going to change. We want to compete for a Pac-12 championship. Look, we won our first year in the league. This is our last year in the league. I mean, it's only fitting we go out with one. But we got to go make that happen. It's not going to be given to us, and that's my expectation, to compete for a championship and to get in the NCAA tournament and then advance and have some fun. So that's what I think this team's expectation should be.
Hey, Ted. I have 2 questions for you real quick. I know you don't get to see the women's team play a lot because you guys are playing at the same time, but
right.
Their office is right across the hall from you. How excited were you for JR in that program to get to the second weekend last year?
Oh, it was fantastic. I mean, I knew before the season started last year how good they were going to be. Now, she's pretty understated sometimes, and she doesn't like to beat her own chest. But I knew they were going to be good last year. I didn't know they were going to get to the Sweet 16, but I knew they were good. They've got really good guard play. They got some really good bigs in their program. So, yeah, we don't get a chance to, break down film together or spend a lot of time together. But, I'll catch an end of her practice or a beginning of her practice, and I watch as many games as I can. But I think she's done, and her staff has done a great job of accumulating talent and building a culture. And so I was extremely happy for them because they've been banging on the door here for a while, and to see them break through like they did last year was great.
And then the second part of that is they have high expectations again because they have so many people coming back. You guys have high expectations. Are you excited for what this season could be for University of Colorado basketball, men and women, just combined?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I think when your teams are winning, everybody's winning. It's fantastic. I look at what Mark Wetmore has done with the programs that he coaches. He coaches a bunch of programs, but like what he's done and the level he's done it at and the sustainability of that is like, when I think about that, it's humbling because it's like, man, he's done an unbelievable job. So you see JR, you see Danny Sanchez with our soccer program, or Annie Elliott with our lacrosse. I mean, I'm pulling for all the programs here at the University of Colorado. And obviously JR and I, we're in the same season, and we don't see each other as much as we'd like, because when we're traveling, they're at home and vice versa, but really excited for her program.
Hey there. I'm not very observant, but I noticed that on your shirt it says family instead of Tad. Why do you want to I have two questions. First one is, why do you want to stay out of the transfer portal and build through high school recruits?
Why? There's a couple of reasons. One of the reasons is with the new NIL rules, it's a hell of a lot more expensive to recruit out of the transfer portal, okay? And that's just a fact. You talk to any coach, okay? That's not the only reason, though. The main reason, I believe, is that there's nothing wrong with transferring. Transferring it's been a part of college athletics the 30 years I've been a part of it. So now some guys had to sit out for 28 years, and now they've been able to play immediately eligible for 1 year. And again, not in every case. There's legitimate reasons for kids to transfer, but there's always some sort of, in my opinion, something that didn't work out at the previous place. And what was that? And that's not always, there's a lot of things you have to dig through in that transfer portal that you might be taking on somebody else's baggage. And I'd rather not take that risk if I don't have to. The one thing I do know about high school kids is when they come to college, they're wide-eyed. They want to learn. They want to be coached. They don't want to be coddled. And they don't all stay here. We've had kids transfer out of our program. But I like to watch kids develop. When I see Tristan Da Silva now as a senior, and I have, recollections of him as a freshman and how far he's come physically, emotionally, mentally, academically, and to see him get his degree from Colorado. And then I was just talking to Bangat Dak, one of our freshmen here after practice today. I said, Bangat, his head is spinning right now. And I said, I just want you to watch Tristan Da Silva, because Tristan's been in the program for 4 years. He's not thinking out there, he's playing. That's where you're going to get. And so, again, the family portion of this program is the young guys come in and learn from the old guys. Well, when you recruit from the transfer portal, you might get a guy for 1 or 2 years. Again, not to say we won't ever do it. It's kind of like junior college players. Not to say we won't ever recruit a junior college player, but I'd much rather get young kids as freshmen. You get to coach them. You get to teach them. Our fans get to watch them grow and develop. They get to know them. Tristan has lifelong relationships now at the University of Colorado through our booster program, through our fan base, that he wouldn't have if he's here for 1 or 2 years. So there's a multitude of reasons. I don't know if any of them are good, but it's just you got to be who you are. You got to be true to what you believe in, and that's, again, I never say never. I never say we're never going to recruit. I just would rather get a high school kid.
The second question is, my memory's not very good either, but I think last year in the Final Four you had 3 programs that had never been there before.
Yep.
So we won't get into the Miami way maybe right now. But
Right. It's okay.
but,
A lot of different ways to do it.
Yeah, there is. Do you think there's more opportunity? Was that just a one-off, or I mean?
Yeah, I don't.
The question
I don't know.
is, do you have to be Duke or Kentucky? Can you be Miami or?
You could absolutely. You look at Miami, you look at Florida Atlantic last year, and those programs, they were older, and that's one of the reasons people recruit the transfer portals. They want to, there's an adage, get old and stay old, and I get that. You're playing with 24, 25-year-old guys against 18, 19-year-old guys, advantage the 24 and 25-year-olds. So I get that. I just think, I look back to when Butler did it, and they did it with, some guys that they developed and grew in the program. Wichita State, they recruited Ron Baker and Fred Van Fleet as freshmen, and they weren't in the Final Four as freshmen and sophomores. As juniors, they made a run, and as seniors, they got to the Final Four. So there's a lot of different ways to get to where you want to get. I would love to get Colorado to a Final Four. I daydream about it. I haven't had any night dreams, unfortunately. But man, driving to the office, or when you're, and Mark, you go to the Final Fours, there's a lot of people, at the University of Colorado in our athletic department that have never been to a Final Four. Like, that's a shame, because it's a lot of fun, and to see the unification of a fan base and an alumni base is really special. And I don't know if I'll be able to do it as long as I'm the head coach here, but I'm gonna keep trying. And I like this team, and I like, and again, you catch lightning in a bottle, who knows what can happen. That's what makes the NCAA tournament such a special three-week event.
Hey, Coach. We saw Tristan Da Silva make a big leap last year. In which ways have you seen him grow as a leader and as a player this offseason? Confidence.
Yeah, without a doubt. Tristan is a confident player. He knows this is his team. He knows that he needs to be aggressive for this team to be as good as we need to be. He's not afraid to open his mouth now. He's letting his teammates know what the expectations are, what they need to be doing offensively, defensively. He needs some help there. He's going to get it from KJ. He's going to get it from Luke. He's going to get it from Julian, Javon Hadley. I keep going back to those 5 guys because they've been here and done that. But Tristan is the guy everybody looks to, and he's going to be critical to this team this year, both offensively and defensively. But I think if you ask me what's the biggest difference, it's confidence.
Coach, the older guys on this team had a heck of an older guy class when it comes to just like Evan Batty and things like that. Are you seeing them implement the things that maybe they learned from guys like them?
Yes, and they're doing it in their own way. And it gets back to Mark's question. Why do we recruit high school kids? Well, yeah, Tristan and Luke, when they were freshmen and sophomores, they had McKinley Wright and Evan Batty. I mean, who better to learn from, how to lead a team and how to compete every day than those 2 guys? And now they're seniors, and so that's what I'm talking about. Like, it's their time now. And I always, when I think back to college basketball teams at Colorado that I've coached, I got to identify with them because I'm not very smart either, and I don't have a very good memory either. But I remember senior years. I remember Josh Scott's senior year. I remember Derek White's senior year. And maybe it's a good memory, maybe it's a bad memory, but that's how. And so this year, to me, is going to be defined by Tristan Da Silva and Luke O'Brien because it's their senior year. And so the young guys learn from the old guys, and the old guys got to teach, and they got to set the example.
Hey, Coach. Just outside just now, KJ talked about how missing so much time at the end of last year kind of gave him a renewed appreciation for playing, and he also talked about how far he's come in the weight room this summer. Are those 2 things, an increased hunger and an increased physicality? Is that something you've noticed in the first couple weeks?
Yeah, when I see KJ climbing up into Julian, full court defensively, and I see him climbing up into Cody and making Cody like uncomfortable with the ball, like that's what KJ Simpson can do. And in order to do that, you got to be in great shape to pick up full court. You gotta be strong, and we know KJ has always been fast and quick and very explosive offensively. But I think that defensive mindset that he can bring to this team can really benefit us this year. So KJ's had a great summer again, distributing the ball and scoring the ball, finding that balance. I talked to him about when Spencer Dinwiddie was here and Derek White was here, 2 really, really good scoring guards, but they did more than just score the ball for us. They also distributed it for us. So finding that balance about when do we need you to get a bucket and go score, and when do we need you to get Tristan a shot, or when do you need to get Cody a look, or when do you need to get Eddie a low post touch, or Javon Hadley, or whoever. Those are the things he's got to start thinking about in terms of running this basketball team.
Ted, you talked about building this program with high school kids and the transfer portal and stuff. There's rumors out there that there was some interest from other schools in Tristan Da Silva. There's a crazy number out there that maybe one school had offered him this summer. When he comes back, if there was interest in him from other schools, what does that say about him? What does it say about your program? Does that make you feel good about where this program's at and the kids you have in it?
I couldn't feel better about guys like Tristan Da Silva. And there's a little truth to those rumors. There's no doubt about it. The numbers, one thing you can't do right now, I can tell you, is believe the numbers that are thrown out there, because you never know what's true and what's not true. What you know is what kind of relationship do you have what does he want as he returns for his senior year? What's best for him? Tristan and I started talking about that last year at this time, going into his junior year. I'm having conversations with KJ right now, as a junior. He's going to be a senior next year. Like, you can't wait until the season's over with. And you've got to rely on your relationship that you build with these young men and their families through the times that they're here. And if you don't have a relationship with roots and where they really are invested in caring, you can lose guys. But look, the one thing that NIL and the transfer portal has done is it's made our business a transactional business. And we are not in the transaction business. Okay, we are in the relationship business. We're in the education business. We're in growing into a family business. That's the culture that we want to create at Colorado, that I think we have created. And without that, maybe Tristan doesn't come back to Colorado. But I'm thankful that he did. I'm appreciative that he did. And it's a testament to his character and what's important to him. And one thing I've learned in my life is every time you make a decision based on money, it can go wrong in a big way. When you make decisions for the reasons that are important to you and your value system, things usually work out.
Hey, Coach, you talked on about improved shooting this year. I talked with Joe, and he talked about his shooting at the center position and the implementation of 5-out offense. How do you think the transition to 5-out offense this year from last year will improve the offense and just the team in general?
Well, I think the big thing, it'll improve our spacing. I think it'll improve our ability to spread the floor and drive the floor. The only way and the only reason we're doing the 5-out is because when I look at our lineups, when Eddie's not in the game, okay, and I see the personnel that we have, it makes a lot of sense. Now, when Eddie's in the game, we'll still go 5-out, but and that doesn't mean we're not going to post the ball, okay? It just means we're going to space the floor and spread the floor, and then we might, because we got multiple guys in this team. I think about Luke O'Brien, as a big 6'7" wing that can create mismatches. Tristan, we know, can do that. Asan, Bangat, multiple guys can get down there and post up. So we'll still post the ball. We'll still, play inside out. It's just we'll space the floor a little bit better, and hopefully it'll help our three-point shooting and our ability to get to the rim and get fouled.
Hey, Coach, I don't know if it was quite 14 years ago, but a long time ago, I remember you telling us if you could go back, you would have majored in psychology.
Yeah.
I'm curious how far you feel you've come in that department.
I think I've come a long way. Every year you coach, you hope, you get a little bit better, a little bit smarter. Obviously, there's no teacher like experience, but I think, there's certain things as a coach now that maybe I let go, maybe I turn the other cheek that I wouldn't have done 10 years ago, 12 years ago. Maybe that's a good thing, maybe that's a bad thing. I don't know. I just think you try to understand what are the things that matter. And to me, what equates to winning and what's going to deter from winning and what's going to help winning. And those are the things that I've tried to dial into and coach and understanding young people and again, getting to know them, getting to know where they're at. Like, again, it gets back to why do you want guys for 4 years? Well, I look at Luke O'Brien, I see his body language, I see his facial expressions, I see Tristan, I know what they're thinking, I know what they're feeling, and guess what? They know me, and they know what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling, and so that understanding of each other is really what psychology is all about, right? You got to understand what makes people tick, what makes them play to their best of their abilities, and that's my job as a coach is to make sure that happens. And it's not always a one size fits all. So you got to know each kid and their temperament, and that's what our staff, I think, has done a good job of. And I got to mention our staff. I don't think my assistant coaches get enough credit, quite frankly. We've got 3 former head coaches on our staff. Mike Rohn, Rick Ray, Bill Greer, all have been head coaches at various levels, and they are they're great help, to me and to our players. And we talk about that when we recruit kids. If I'm out recruiting or if I got to miss a practice, I'm sick for a couple days, man, our team's in good hands. We have a great coaching staff in my mind, and I don't think they get talked about enough. So shout out to them. Thank you, guys.